All right, let's have an uncomfortable conversation. It's time to talk about death and what it entails. There's a lot more that goes into it than sometimes we think, right? Not necessarily what happens to us, but what happens to the people that remain here, like our loved ones, people that depend on us to provide and things of that nature, and need us to do what we do and go be great, so that we can, um, so that they can, function, right? And this is a hard topic. I understand that. So, but it's needed. You see a lot of people. Let me just say this disclaimer: I don't sell insurance. I'm not a. I'm. I don't sell insurance. I don't have a affiliate program for you to go to. I'm not an attorney. None of those things. I'm a guy here on YouTube who's just talking about what I do and what I've done and what you should at least think about. The purpose of my channel is to get you to start thinking about these things, and you could take action and do whatever that looks like for you. However, when you die, there are people that still will be here continuing on doing their journey with, and you want to make sure that they're not struggling or they're not put out, of a home or something like that. Or if you, are the successful YouTuber, which everyone has aspirations to do that now, and or you have maybe you've already created some channels and you have a viral moment for whatever reason, and there's revenue from that. You want to make sure there are proper things in place so that when you exit this earth, that's not a scramble for your loved ones. So one of the things that I think you should look at, especially if you own real estate or you hope to own real estate, you need to have some type of will. You can even maybe have a trust. I'm sure you can Google whatever area you're in, see what those laws are. As someone who has had to, you know, bury people and they're not having things in place, is some of the most underrated, I think, financial advice you can ever receive, because it leaves the kids, it leaves everyone in just your emotions running very high, right, for obvious reasons. And then, you're trying to figure it out while, you're trying to figure out life while you're trying to bury someone and all these things. So it's really just being responsible, and we got to have that conversation. um you know Everyone talks about blowing up and, being the entrepreneur and this and lofty dreams and this and that, but I don't think they talk about, like, you know making sure things are in order for when that success happens. You don't have to think about it, it's done, you know what I mean? Or if the worst thing happened, you don't have to think about it, it's done. So I recommend everyone just talk to someone, a financial advisor, planner, a lawyer. I'm sure they can give you references and things of that nature. You can even Google. You can ask friends who they use if they like someone, but have it in place, right? And when you get it in place, don't just, okay, I'm done. No, that's probably part one. Part two is to have a conversation with your loved ones, that before anything happens, right? Have a conversation with everyone so everyone knows who gets what, where it's going, who's taking care of who, and how much they are allocated off of it. And most people think you need to have money to have these things in place. But even if you don't have money, at the minimum, you should at least have a will, because you want to know, and a will and a directive and all these things, because even if someone needs to make a medical decision on your behalf, you want to make sure that's not that they can do that, and the state or someone doesn't have to make that decision for you. I was in a situation where I had to bury someone very close to me, and he didn't have any of this in place at all. And so it was just chaotic, lots of noise, and you couldn't really, so it's like we had to backtrack. And it wasn't for lack of knowledge. I actually had the conversation in advance. And usually when people, when you're in that state, sometimes I think you're dealing with your illness and things like that, you don't want to hear anything else. And they didn't do it, but it created so many headaches to navigate and deal with. So I would encourage everyone, get this done, have the conversation. You only need to have it once. I find myself, I'm gonna have to redo it because I just moved to a new state. Every time there's a life event, you had another kid, you bought another property, or you moved, or something like that, always a good idea to go ahead and update these documents. Look at how many famous people, which blows my mind, in 2024, you got all these famous people who don't have a will. It's irresponsible. We need to be adults and we need to talk about this, and you can die with dignity. And this is your duty, right? This is your reasonable act of service to your people you say you love. Again, have the conversation now. I know it can be hard and taboo, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it, especially of a certain generation. Like to talk about it, but I feel like it's so necessary, because once you have the conversation, you will feel great. I'm telling you, like, whew, you know what I mean? Everything's in place. Now I can go out here and I can make money and I can be successful and I can go run it up, and I buy all your assets, YouTube channel's on fire, everything's growing, and you don't have to worry about this. This is in motion, it's in place. Because I think it's not that it's ever too late, but you don't want to be dealing with this, God forbid, if something were to happen and you have to go to doctor, and that's not the time to be dealing with this type of work. You want this to be buttoned up, ready to go. Everyone knows where the documents are. If you have an attorney, everybody knows who to contact for what, and also, like, if you don't have a lot of money, maybe you're not a person of lots of means, right? Which most of us aren't. You still need a will, right? Because you want to know, like, do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? You have money in your bank account now. Who gets that? Is there anyone listed on your bank account? I always say that, like, that was another issue that I ran into, which I didn't know. And to be honest with you, a lot of banks can make it very challenging to access funds. So if someone's name is not on the account, but that's something you've been depending on to pay your rent, mortgage, utilities, buy groceries, gas, guess what? That account gets frozen. And then you got to go to the state, and it's just so much more paperwork, and it's so much more expensive. It is cheaper to do it now and to have those conversations now, have the will in place now than later. Trust me on this one. And like I said, it's almost like a relief that comes over you once you get this done. So be thinking about a will, a living trust, advance directive. Those are things that you want to look for. Making sure you have the appropriate people listed on your account, who gets the kids, if you're not here, and then if they have an inheritance for them. What does that even, you can structure that. What does that look like once the kids get of a certain age? They have a certain amount allotted for college expenses every quarter. You can be as detailed as you want it to be, but I would say at least start. Most attorneys will have a 30-minute consultation with you for free. I would highly recommend you do that, because to me, that is the foundation of your financial future and your journey. So don't neglect to take care of the details, right? Like they always say, the devil lies in the details. That is, in my opinion, a fundamental step. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this at least made you think. All right, take care.